Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your lunchtime today. Happy to have my dear colleagues, Alex and Samuel, with me today on this second webinar on AI from a series of 4. Today, we're going to be talking about the future of work, how AI and human are shaping the future together. Before we jump into the topic, I'm just going to set the stage. We're going to be talking for about 30 minutes and then have a 15-minute open question session. You can also send all your questions throughout the session. I've got a feed here. I can watch your questions, so feel free to send it throughout the webinar. Let's jump into it, guys. Quick intro, Alex.
Thanks, Antoine. Hey, Sam. I'm Alex. I'm a strategic consultant and CX expert at Levio. And hopefully we'll be talking some nice collaboration between AI and humans in the course of the upcoming years.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I'm
Alex.
sure we will. Thanks, Alex. Hi, Antoine. Happy to be with both of you today. So I'm Sam. I lead the agentic AI practice at Levio. I'm also a data scientist and an AI solution architect. Therefore, I'm able to provide perhaps a little bit of technical background about AI, the technological maturity, and what we can really do about artificial intelligence today for clients and for different businesses.
Great. Thanks, guys. So I'll introduce myself. Antoine, I'm the head of innovation at Levio. I'm happy to be here and talk with you guys. I know we talk on a daily basis, but let's talk about the future of work and how people and AI is shaping the future of work together. Before we jump into it, we all know that AI has a tremendous impact right now, from mundane tasks to very complex process automation and change. Before we jump in the topic, I'm just going to lay out the structure of this discussion. We'll start to get to the future. We'll start with the now. So what's happening now? What are the trends? What are the emerging technology? What has this potential on impacting the future? We're also going to be talking after about what's good and bad in terms of the application of AI in the work that we know today. And obviously, we'll finish with my fun part, the future, talking about what's next. What's your definition? What's your point of view? What do you see happening in the future with AI? So let's dive in. Let's talk about now, because if we do shape the future, we need to talk about what's happening now. Levio signed the AI Code of Conduct last year. We see an emerging need for a charter like that. UN has also did the same on a global standpoint. So what do you see, Samuel, right now happening in terms of trends and tech, in terms of AI and the workplace that we see on the daily basis?
Yeah, you're kicking us off on the responsible AI part of it, which I think is a major part of the discussion. So it's great that we're thinking about this. And I'm going to start by saying that, you mentioned the voluntary code of conduct about AI. So those are the principles that we must follow to build AI responsibly, which is super important. But how do you really do that within your business? So how does these high-level principles, how do they trickle down to your use case? Because, if you want to do AI for good, there's actually always a way to build an argument to say that your AI use case that you're building is for good. If you're making things life easier for your clients, if you're removing friction point, you're creating good in some ways for the humanity, but at the same point, maybe you have to lay off staff. Maybe there are some negative impact as well that are coming into place. So in the end, I think it's an important topic to see how do you really, for a given use case is your business, how do you apply these high-level principles about responsible AI?
Yeah, it's a very valid point that you guys are bringing, because obviously AI was sort of like in the background before, and now it's really in the forefront and has become a collaborator. If you look at the ecosystem of a work environment, Are you leaving people behind? Is it fair to the responses or the potential decisions that AI is taking to your customers? There's all these levels of responsibilities, ethics, legalities that we need to consider as we progress. And these are uncharted territories that are not yet fully defined. So early on, as we start this in the use and the application within an organization and how we outface that or face that outside the organization, it's extremely important to avoid these sort of mishaps, mistakes, and actually potentially dangerous decisions that could impact people's lives.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go one step down into the tech that we're seeing on the workplace right now, from vibe coding to process automation with agentic AI.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see right now that is leading the pack, that is emerging into something that will yes have an impact in terms of shaping the future, but that definitely will stick, or great or bad? What do you see emerging right now?
Well, for sure, a lot of people are talking about automation. So you want to use AI to create perhaps new revenue streams through hyper-personalization, better marketing activity or stuff like that. But I think most of the business right now are tackling the idea of automating processes. So how can you use AI? You've mentioned vibe coding. So everything related to software engineering has been one of the early wins of this new wave of AI technology that we have been seeing. But now there's the opportunity to go one step further. There's the opportunity to automate mundane tasks like data entry, but to go maybe a little bit further down the line, you can probably also automate some stuff like data validation. You might be able to automate data reconciliation. So you're simply able to go one step further into automation in comparison to what you were able to do maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, and in all this, what AI can do at a lower level standpoint, we just don't want to forget what the impacts can have on the two building blocks of an organization, which are the employees and the clients that you actually serve. So if you remove those frictions, you automate those processes, what experience will you be able to provide, and what the employee will be able to provide to the client in terms of a more simplified experience, a more less friction experience, and actually breaking those barriers of segments between cross organizations. I mean, we truly feel now the potential that AI, or at least agentic in certain aspects, could really elevate that experience that we always wanted for the past decades. And that's the true potential. It's to establish that coherence, that simplicity, and that human touch that we actually wanted, because we're face down actually looking in terms of completing tasks. It's very transactional. Our work on a day-to-day is extremely transactional. It's less qualitative in certain cases. But I think at that point, it's just to not forget that there's always a level of coherence that we need to maintain between those three pillars of alignment: how you operate a business, the systems you use, why you're using them, how you're deploying them, and the impact that they have on the day-to-day of the employee and the actual experience your customers will live on a day-to-day to be able to come back.
Mm-hmm. And briefly, we could just touch on quickly one of the very important and transformative change we've done into the insurance, because what you talk right now is exactly aligned with that change we did, where in claim and change, where we actually allowed the human and the adjuster and the claim processing to be able to augment, to take decision faster and reduce the really repetitive work that was happening on the process. And the process was like a cycle time of very long to manage those claims.
It's long, it's overwhelming. I mean, in life, you've got three different things. Three different aspects. You've got projects, you've got problems, and you've got tasks that you need to do, regardless of what type of person you are. But in the case of an insurance, if I hit a snag or a problem, that process as a user is complicated. It's fragmented. It's long. It's challenging. It takes up a lot of time. And this is where the true potential comes in with AI and even the rise of agentic, where as a user, as a consumer, as a claimant, it's simple. I upload a photo, I upload a video, I validate certain conditions based on a validation form or a back and forth with a question with an agent. And basically you can start automating simple tasks, and maybe exceptions can be routed to adjusters or different resources, or maybe those review units to be able to evaluate more complex cases, and then maybe automate some more simple ones. But still, nevertheless, there is a process of decision that needs to be catered, and we need to safeguard those decisions, because if you make that mistake, there are consequences.
It's costly.
It's extremely costly at every level.
Yeah. Have you seen, Alice, an impact on job satisfaction? Because you've took this
exactly what I was thinking about. Yeah.
So it improved the customer experience for sure. But in terms of the employee, I mean, his work has been changing with the technology that you have brought into this process. So how has it impacted the life of workers in that scenario?
100%, yeah.
There's a few studies coming out on the employee retention when leveraging AI in some very complex processes like that. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be something that's going to be emerging as a benefit.
And it changes. It will change the way we work. I mean, it will lift.
It's already changing the way we work. Yeah,
it is, because we used to use maybe a ChatGPT or any sort of models, maybe a couple of hours, even before that, maybe once a week, then a couple of hours a day, and two, maybe, during your whole day. It all depends on what you do, but nevertheless.
You guys feel that there's a risk to over-rely on those systems if you start using them 7 or 8 hours a day?
But you bring up a very good point on over-reliance, especially the different generations. Some people have education, they have experience, they have skills, they've developed competencies. You've got younger generations that maybe, and later down the road, that will be AI natives. And there is that over-reliance on
action. Well, that's the other side of the coin, where it might actually be a risk as well. Not going to go,
but it is a risk.
But in terms of knowledge and in terms of competency, if we over-rely on it at some point, even in terms of the organization, it might be. It's not might. It is a risk.
It is a risk, and it's. I think as a person, whether let's just put ourselves in the context of an employee, to follow those rules blindly and to be able to receive that on the end and just be able to acknowledge it is extremely risky. We need to train those models. We need to be able to decide, orchestrate, and train at a cultural level, on an accuracy level, how those models will respond back.
Yeah, because the title of the webinar is How AI and People Are Shaping the Future Together. As slightly older people, we have worked before AI. We have the experience to challenge what the AI is telling us to do. But these younger folks that have only been learning with AI, I think it's going to be trickier for them to challenge and therefore collaborate with AI. It's going to be harder for organization perhaps to put in place the proper mechanism in order to have real AI human teaming and collaboration instead of over relying on AI systems.
Guys, you're so natural. The next segment is about what we do now to shape the future. So talking about those concerns, what are we doing right now, good or bad? What are the action to take, again, good or bad, to shape what's going to be happening tomorrow? So some good practice or some stuff to avoid. What comes top of mind? Good, bad, or good or bad? Which one would take first?
I think you need to teach and equip. So you can start from this principle. So teaching mean improving the AI literacy of your workforce. So giving everyone an idea of really an understanding of what is AI, what is it useful for, what are the pitfalls that you might fall into, how not to over rely on it, how can you challenge the responses that you get from AI. So I think that you need to give everyone within your organization an opportunity to learn those things. And then you need to equip your staff with the proper tool to be able to do their work. Otherwise, you're going to fall into a situation that that is shadow AI in the end. So your people will be using unsanctioned tools for their AI purposes. Then it's going to put your organization at risk. Yes. But if you equip them with the right technological tool, and if you teach them properly how to use it, how to use them, and how to create value, I think you're going to put yourself in a great situation.
Yeah, and exactly. And we can't watch this on the sidelines. We have to step in both feet together and actually start incrementally, baby steps, and actually learn and apply those learnings as we move forward. Not to say that it's